Two roads diverged in American politics, and the Republican Party chose the one traveled by President Donald Trump and the QAnon conspiracy theorist. Now, only a week after Trump left the White House, it's clear that his party is not ready to let him go, and now they're feeling the impacts of it. Joining us this morning in hopes to break it all down for us is political strategist and host of Politics of Food podcast, Cristina Gonzalez. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
So 9 more Fortune 500 companies suspended donations to 147 Republicans who tried to overturn the election. And just 3 weeks after the insurrection, more companies are pulling their funds. Why do you think it took them so long to do this?
It's honestly, it's weird I'm not entirely sure why it took this long for them to really decide this is the line for them of this was too much white supremacy for them. I think maybe they started to see the repercussions in their profits, perhaps, and they started to see how this was not good for their individual bottom line. But I don't necessarily believe it's because it was any sort of moral or ethical standing for these corporations.
Mm. And so should Republicans be worried about raising money for 2022 as donations are continuing to be, cut? And do you think that hitting them in the pocket is the best resolution?
I honestly don't think that Republicans per se have anything to worry about. Maybe these specific ones who had a hand in the insurrection might be a little bit worried, but there are plenty of other corporations who are still saying yes to white supremacy. I don't believe that this is necessarily the tactic to course correct and to change the way that corporations behave. I still believe that the best path forward is through more regulation and not leaving it up to individual corporations to decide what is and isn't too much white supremacy, too much bigotry, too much misogyny for America.
And as you talk about those corporations, and should these corporations stay the course and also take action pertaining to injustices in communities they serve?
I would love for them to take action. I would love for them to play a role, but let's look at some of these corporations that are new to this list. We've got PG&E, who are currently filing for bankruptcy because of their faulty equipment that caused the California fires. We've got General Mills, which is owned by Nestle Corporation, who are known for human rights violations for using slave labor in Africa. These are not corporations that that are suddenly upstanding citizens because they've decided to withdraw their donations to these insurrectionists. I have very little faith in their ability to make the right moral choices without that regulation.
And I'm glad that you touched or named some of those corporations, because we would probably never know that the relation that there is between that.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah.
So what would you say that means for the consumers, people like us, people who buy things from these companies and don't even know, what's on the backstory?
It's really tough for consumers to make good ethical choices when it comes to corporations. As some of these that I've mentioned, for example, General Mills is owned by Nestle. Nestle owns a lot of other corporations. So even if we as individual consumers decide to boycott General Mills or boycott any of these corporations that are still standing by the insurrectionists, it's really hard to make good ethical choices as consumers because of the conglomeration of these companies. I don't think that it should be up to the individual. I think that there's too much emphasis on individual responsibility and very little on the responsibility of our legislators to ensuring that we are not allowing these conglomerates to move the way that they want to move, to donate the way that they want to donate, and have control over our politics the way that they have for so many decades.
Well, thank you so much, Cristina Gonzalez, for joining us here on BNC this morning, political strategist.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful Thursday.
You too.